Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is awesome. You have food all day in this conference. I've never seen any conference that gives you food all the time. So this is awesome. I just want to thank NDC at the outset for giving me an opportunity to talk about a topic today that I'm very passionate about. 1.4 million jobs will be created by 2020 in computer science. Can someone guess how many jobs are predicted to be filled? Half. 400,000. That's all has been predicted to be filled by that time. 2020 is not far away. This is actually a US labor statistics, but we're not far behind as well. So, my name is Subha Chari, and I'm an ex-developer. I'm working currently in digital strategy with Commonwealth Bank. My talk today is about women in tech, and I want you to take away two things from my talk today. Talk to women and girls in your life about why they should consider a technology or a computing career. It could be your girlfriends, your cousins, your nieces, your aunts, anyone. Ensure that your organization employs inclusive practices that will retain women who choose a tech career. Sometimes minority women don't voice their ideas or they shy away from it. Just encourage them to actually, do a bit more about it. Clearly, excuse me, modern IT industry is dominated by men, but it hasn't always been this way. So a little bit of a trivia. Anyone in the audience know or remember a name called Ada Lovelace? Awesome, brilliant. Albert Einstein? Everyone? Steve Jobs? Everyone? Grace Hopper? Nice, okay. So Ada was the Countess of Lovelace who found the first algorithm back in 1843, which is the basis for our computer programs today. Grace Hopper was an admiral. She actually led a lot of programs that led to development of the COBOL programming language back in 1940, 50, somewhere there. Until the 60s, computer programming was considered a clerical job, so it was more for girls. Software was considered more clerical, while hardware was more for men. Then it was realized that, as you can see up here, it was realized that it was not only challenging, but it was lucrative as well. So there was a lot of push then to get men onto becoming software programmers as well. According to researchers, that is when the decline actually began. So today we are on a mission to change this ratio and bring diversity into tech industry. Now, why do we need gender diverse teams? Again, a trivia. Anyone?
Better diversity of thought in coming up with a solution?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So gender balanced company perform better financially. It's said to have performed better financially. Demonstrate superior team dynamics and productivity. We all work in product development at the moment. It's global, it's everywhere. So having a gender diverse team actually brings that holistic approach to product development. And there's plenty of examples where you've seen comparisons between gender diverse teams as opposed to monolithic teams, and how they performed and how they had to go back and redo a lot of their products as well. So a lot of benefits that's been seen with gender balanced companies. Oh, sorry. No. Trying to play the video. No. So that video, when it played and if it played, was actually done by Microsoft when they did a lot of promotion for girls in STEM. These were primary school girls talking about how they loved science, how they did a lot of coding themselves, and what all they did with their coding. There was a lot of passion when they actually talk about that. So when I get to play it, you'll see maybe later. What happens is at that age, there's like 70% of girls, they love science, they love technology, they want to do something with technology. But as they grow, the number actually drops down to 20%. So 2 out of 10 people actually then go into choosing a career in university, a tech career in university, or a workforce. So that was what that video was going to actually play. So we'll try and come back to it at some point in time. I actually come from India. I did all my computer education there. I did my schooling, my university, and I actually worked there as well. Back then, it was 50%. I assume it's still 50%. It hasn't dropped as far as I know. But the numbers here have actually dropped down to 20%. So, that's a drastic drop. And trying to find out why that drop is, I've got 2 daughters myself who've grown up here, and trying to find out why that drop was. There was a lot of reasons that you could associate with this. So there's generally a stigma attached to technology, which suggested that it's a boys' thing. So all your ads and your commercials that shows girls playing with dolls while you had boys playing games, and they had all the cool, gadgets that they could play with. So that's one of the reasons that they predict that girls get a stigma that, oh, it's a boys' thing. There's a lack of encouragement and inspiration as well provided by both the parent communities and the teachers in both schools and universities. So when I approached schools for my program, they had to send out a permission note to the parents telling them about the program. This is a coding program, right? So send a permission note to the parents asking for their permission. Some of the parents actually said, no, IT is not for my daughter. I'm not even going to send them to the course, even though the course was free. So there's not that encouragement by parents and teachers, so that has to improve as well. The experience that I wanted to provide the girls basically was give them a taste of technology by actually doing some hands-on coding and encourage them via that. When I was researching, I went and did some surveys with the schools, and the girls, about 80–90% of the girls that I surveyed said they wanted to learn technology, they love science, they want to do stuff. But then they said, oh, I can't take that course anymore because we don't have enough girls to join that subject, and that course is not available for us to choose. So this was the driver for the initiative called Can Change Ratio, which I've been spearheading for the past 18 months with CBA. Now, if I was able to show you the video, it actually said 7 out of 10 girls in primary school or when they were young were interested in technology, and then it declined down to 20% or 2 out of 10. So we knew we had to actually get the girls early and then build a pipeline. So this is the pipeline going from high school into universities and then into workforce. So at every stage, encourage them, give them what's needed for them to keep moving in that direction. And we knew that everybody wanted to know technology. So the best possible way was to actually give them hands-on coding exercises. So a curriculum was basically devised, a very simple one, because we didn't have too much time for them to go and do this outside of their school curriculum. A curriculum was devised. Each school took it differently. Some did it as a boot camp. Some took it over 10 weeks, over a term. Some did it over 2 terms. So we were flexible because we actually wanted them to do this, have some focus and do this. So we actually we flexed the timeline and the curriculum based on what they wanted to do. Overall, about 40 hours of coding is what we thought was needed for them to stand up a website that they could use for their school later on. So it's a website that's a living website. It can stay in the school, maintain and update within the school, which means the next cohort of girls were actually going to do some coding as well with that. The teachers were actually trained in coding. So even if the girls graduated out of schools, the teachers could then, continue to maintain that momentum with technology. Once they did a fair bit of coding, or even right at the end, we then said they now need to understand what is it in real life. So we actually partnered with some of the tech companies like Airbnb, Amazon, Google, all those companies, and we said, look, we want to bring our students to visit your company. We want them to see how your engineers work. So these companies were really awesome. They actually went over and above, and they showed the girls, or rather did a tour of the floors to the girls so they could see how cool it is and what's the impact of technology that they were having with that. They actually then Skyped a lot of their engineers and their VPs and everybody from US, because a lot of these companies have their engineering back in the US or in Singapore or somewhere else. So they actually Skyped them in, and these girls actually talked about their journey, which actually inspired the girls as well. And then they visited CBA as well. So the finale is CBA. So they came to visit CBA. We took them on a tour on our digital floor. So I work in digital, so we did a tour of the digital floors. We did a lot of design thinking workshops with them for the day. And finally, they actually graduated, as with any school, a certificate. And they were so proud. They were so happy to actually receive that certificate. So the result, we had our first cohort graduate on 29th of July 2016 from Bankstown Girls High School. Here's a picture of the graduation ceremony. More so, I would like you to focus on this, where this girl, they actually presented their code and their website and everything. And you can actually see these girls so proud of having done coding. So they're so happy, and they wanted to showcase it. They wanted to show everybody what they've done. And I believe they've actually continued doing this in their school as well. Whenever they got an opportunity, they actually gone and did this within their school as well. So the pilot was successful, but we knew we had to do a lot of tweaks to that, because I'm not experienced in doing such a program with schools, or neither is the schools. So it was a lot of learnings that we had to take from it. We did pre-surveys, we did post-surveys, just to see how they felt, what they felt. It was very funny because I used to go to the school for the pilot, when the pilot program was happening, because I wanted to make sure that everything was going okay and all of that things. Round about the first class, they were so excited. They're all all up and trying to do stuff. When I possibly visited them in the 4th or the 5th class, I could see they were all so down and they didn't know what they were doing, and they threw up their hands to say, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing." And then around the 7th class, when I went back, they actually said, "Oh, we've got this website working now." So they persevered, they went through it, and the teachers and the teachers from the school and our trainers were so supportive, so they could get them through that. And they said, "Oh, we've got that now." So we had a lot of tweaks that we did, and then we went with rollout. We had 10 schools actually come by, visit us on the 30th of June this year, so 1 year later. Overall, we've done about 22 schools with this program. 500 students have graduated. About 40 plus teachers have actually also done hands-on coding with this program. That's a picture of the website that the girls are showing. So, I just had some pictures that I could show. Some of the quotes we received were, "We never thought tech was so cool." And one of the students, actually the one who was presenting before, either this one or the one before, she said she wanted to take physiology in university. She was a year 10 student, she wanted to take physiology. After doing this course, she said, "Oh, now I might combine IT with that and see how I can do tech stuff with physiology as well." So that's actually the outcome we wanted to achieve. And it was like a really emotional moment as well, to see, for those who are parents and have kids, when you see your kid go up and get a certificate, you get that emotional feeling. That's how it was, basically. I've got 2 daughters, so this is a personal passion for me as well. So I hope this initiative has inspired you to also help increase the ratio of women in technology. Now, going back to the 2 key points that I mentioned, that I would like you to take away from today's talk. Talk to the women and girls in your life about why they should consider a technology or a computing career. Ensure that your organization employs inclusive practice that will retain women who choose a tech career. Thank you.